Well, Sophia, we're going down the home stretch with season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
And episode 18 and 19 are showing us the fallout of the sister school event. Are you still intrigued as we keep, learning more and more new things about these characters in this world?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm kind of sad that it's happening at the end and not really at the beginning, but this opens up, new possibilities for season 2.
And there's a prequel movie we have to look forward to, but we'll talk about that later. So episode 18 starts off with Noritoshi and Megumi in their fight. We learn about Camo and the fact that his magic is this blood manipulation magic and something that was kind of cruel, almost. It was definitely, gruesome, but he can only manipulate his own blood.
Yeah. It kind of, reminded me of Dead Man Wonderland or that one episode from Avatar: The Last Airbender. They have, blood manipulation stuff.
They have bloodbenders?
Yeah, it's a version of waterbenders for the Avatar one.
Okay. I did like it's his own blood, so to have a weapon, he's carrying around bags of his own blood, I guess. Maybe once a week he goes and has a pint withdrawn and put in a bag, and he carries it in his cloak, and he pre-treats the tips of his arrows that he's shooting with his own blood. Ugh. First time we've seen this, I gotta say I really like it, though.
It's interesting, but, what kind of diseases can you get from that?
Well, it's his own blood, so I guess he uses a sterile setup. He's pretty safe. I do like that it has a built-in limit, though, because I'm always a big fan of those built-in limits.
You can only lose so much blood before you pass out.
And we do see Fushiguro letting some of his tricks out of the bag, like stuff we haven't seen him do before. Most importantly, we see him bring up this elephant that out of its trunk can shoot this big tidal wave of cursed energy. What'd you think about the elephant?
That was so cool. And elephants are actually, one of my favorite animals. So I just thought that was, really, really cool.
And when the cursed energy sort of looked like water shooting out of the elephant's trunk and then it curved around and made a big wave, the way that it was drawn, the way it looked on the show kind of reminded me of this painting that Mom showed us when she was in art school, this tidal wave painting from Japan, I believe.
Yeah, that one's super famous. I forgot what it was called, but I've seen it a lot, everywhere.
It really reminded me of that, though, and I just kind of wonder if that was an intentional sort of homage or if it's just accidental, because how many ways can you paint a tidal wave? I don't know, but it was something I thought of. And this is the first time I really noticed that Megumi's power kind of uses shadows. He's making shadow puppets of these animals and stuff. And it may have been there all along, but when he would move his hands or whatever, I thought it was just part of his manipulation of his curse technique. And even at one point, we see he can store stuff in shadows and then pull it out. Had you caught on to that before?
Well, earlier they had mentioned that it was a shadow thing, so I was just kind of oh, okay, he's making it out of the shadow.
Yeah, I guess all the information was there, just kind of went over my head there a little bit, but it's pretty cool now that I'm catching on. Better late than never, I guess. We learn a little bit about Camo and why Camo has this, I guess you would say, sort of sternness about him. But we find out he was an illegitimate son, but he was named heir to the Camo clan, which is one of the big 3 clans, because the head of the clan didn't have legitimate children that had the appropriate cursed technique and cursed energy, so he's made Camo the heir. And Camo kind of has this chip on his shoulder, and his mother was sort of sent off into exile, I guess you would say. So he's got a pretty tragic backstory, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
He also says he has something in common with Fushiguro, and I don't think I quite understand what this might be. Do you have any thoughts?
Maybe Fushiguro's also an illegitimate child? Oh, I don't know.
Or maybe sort of reluctantly thrust into the role of heir or something. I don't quite know where this is coming from either. One thought I had is we saw early on in the season, there was sort of a memory or a flashback that Fushiguro had lost an older sister, I think.
Maybe his mom?
Either way, it's still he lost a family member, and I don't know if that's simply what Camo's getting at.
I don't know.
We'll
find out.
Yeah, some of the stuff's hard to follow. And then Fushiguro said he left the Zenin clan. I didn't know this. Is this a reveal, or did I just miss it?
I think this is a reveal. We knew he was from the Zenin clan, but we didn't know anything about it.
And I feel like we're going to find out more about this for sure this season. And I kind of wonder if it's going to go back to whatever happened to his sister, or I'm pretty sure it was his older sister that we saw was the victim of some cursed something or other. So I wonder if that might be why he left the clan.
Maybe. We'll find out.
We do get to see Togei's cursed speech in action here in these 2 episodes. What do you think about that?
That was actually really cool.
I like the idea that it even worked over the telephone because he puts Miwa asleep over the phone.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, the power of his words, I guess.
Yes. And as the episodes unfold, we get to see him not only use it more, but it's nice because almost every time they give us a power, we also get to see a limit to it. We'll get to see Togei's limit. Now, we do see some of our nefarious cabal of curses. And they have this new human companion with them. We don't see Gato with them at this point. But they have this guy who is really excited about making a coat rack out of Gojo. What do you make of this guy with the axe?
He's insane and reminds me of Leatherface.
Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Maybe Ed Gein a little bit.
Probably based off of all that.
Now, here's a question I've got. Do you think coat racks are really all that cool? Because this guy's really into the idea of a coat rack.
I don't think we even own a coat rack.
We have one coat rack.
We do?
And it's fine. I mean, it comes in handy. Actually, it's like in the stairway up to my room.
Oh.
So it's handy to have. It's fine. It's very utilitarian. But I never really got excited about getting that coat rack. A weird thing to get so excited about.
I didn't even know we had one in this house.
Maybe for this guy, the only way he can get a coat rack is to kill a Jujutsu sorcerer and make it out of bones. Like, they don't have IKEA there.
I mean, he could just go chop down a tree. It's
Well, where's the fun in chopping down a tree? Come on, he's clearly a
lumberjacks
psychopath.
do it. You know, maybe he'll find some fun in that.
So Hanami is the name of that special grade tree curse, the one that has like branches for eyes.
Yeah.
And he goes on to the playing field, for the sister school event, immediately kills all the curses, and we see all the papers like flare up in red flame at once back where the teachers are watching. And we also see that Mei-Mei's crows don't really see what's going on, so nobody knows what's happening, but they know it's got to be bad. In particular, because the old principal guy let, I think he called it a semi-grade 1 and told everybody it was a grade 2, so he knows it has to be something pretty powerful to get rid of that one so easily.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm just going to call him the tree curse, the guy with the branches for eyes. But the tree curse interrupts the fight between Megumi and Camo. And then Togi shows up, and we get to really see what Togei can do here, because he's using his curse speech on this special grade tree curse, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, that's really cool, because this curse is insanely powerful, and Togei's still able to stop him, even though he's only a year 2, right?
Yes, but we see his throat start bleeding too. So we do see the repercussions. Again, this show always showing us the limits, and that's cool. But when his throat starts bleeding, that is just like vicious. I mean, that just hurts so much. Like, you can just hurt by association watching that. That would be enough to make me never want to use that power again. How about you?
Yeah, I don't even like it when I get a little cut in my mouth. Like when I accidentally bite my tongue, I can't even handle that.
Now, the guy who's crazy for coat racks, he faces off with the old principal. His name is Gakuganji. Mm-hmm. And this is probably my favorite part of this episode, because out of nowhere, Gakuganji takes out this like heavy metal rock guitar. And this is probably the most unexpected moment in the show so far for me, when the old guy pulls out the electric guitar, and that's what his curse technique revolves around. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I didn't think he could really do much, because he was old.
Well, or I thought he would do something more stereotypical for an old guy. You know what I mean? He has his walking cane. Maybe I thought he'd use that like a staff, the way that a wizard would or something. But once he pulls out that guitar, he even like throws back his robe, and he's wearing like this black t-shirt that says Hard Rock on it. Where was he storing that guitar? It just like came out of nowhere.
No idea.
You just see him throw the guitar case over to the side, and then he's holding this Flying V electric guitar like he's Steve Vai or somebody.
I have noticed, though, in animes, sometimes they'll have this one trope where there's this old dude that looks like he can't really do a lot, and then just out of nowhere, he's, like, ripped, he's got, like, a six-pack, and he's the coolest person.
I'm thinking of this bald guy from the Dragon Ball Z movie I saw years ago. He was kind of like that. He took off his cloak, and he was ripped.
Yeah, this reminded me of the old dude from Hunter x Hunter.
So, How often do you think this old guy rocks out? Like once a month, or like he just goes nonstop on the weekends? Like, what does he do when he's not at school?
Well, I mean, you do have to practice instruments, so maybe like once a week.
He's live at the Budokan every weekend. But I got to tell you, I'm pretty bummed that we don't get to see him doing his guitar thing in this episode. It like cuts away as soon as he reveals it. So these 2 episodes, I still don't know how his guitar technique is going to work. But I figure we're going to see it soon, right? They're not going to just leave us hanging and not pay that off.
Well, they once they brought it in, they have to show us. If they don't show us, I'm going to be so mad.
Oh, I'll write an angry letter to Mappa if we don't get to see him using his power on his guitar. Now, another part that was funny to me is when the tree curse shows up, Fushiguro recognizes it by having a memory back to these pictures that Gojo drew. But those pictures look like they were drawn by a kindergartner. Like they were just crayons. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
How in the world is he recognizing anything from that? I don't know, but it is kind of funny to see and funny to think about. And also another part of why Gojo's so cool, because like most people on this show, he's insane.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, we also find out, and this is nice because it goes into those morally gray areas, and we find some sympathy even with this special grade curse, because we find out that the tree curse just wants to protect the environment. Like that is this tree curse's raison d'etre, so to speak.
Yeah. But I feel like they want to eliminate humans, yes, but we also do play a role in the environment, whether good or bad.
That's a theme in a lot of like comic book movies and TV shows and stuff that I've seen, is usually there's a villain, well, like Thanos in Endgame. I mean, the whole idea is to bring balance. You got to kill a bunch of people. But this curse wants to kill all the people, I think.
I personally, I don't think that's a good road to follow.
Well, most people don't.
Mass genocide is not okay.
Yeah, I think most people don't. That's why they're usually the villains and not the heroes in those stories. So Maki breaks out this 3-part staff that's called Playful Crowd. Mm-hmm. Because, Maki is the cursed tool user. I think that's the word they use. And apparently this thing packs a lot of power, but they say it's really hard to use.
Yeah, I don't think I could even touch it without it breaking.
She also says it's worth 5 billion yen. So I don't know exactly what the conversion rate is on that, but I bet it's more than what I've got. I couldn't afford to buy that.
Definitely.
I think 2 parts on a staff are just fine. Like I'm a pretty radical nunchucker, but you get that 3rd stick in there, I think I'm hurting myself.
See, I think I could only use like a 1-part staff.
Just give me a stick, I'm good to go.
If I practice with it, then maybe I get it down.
We also get this cool moment where Megumi summons the divine dog Totality. And we learn that when one of his Shikigami are destroyed, he can never summon that one again. But like its essence, its power, its energy goes sort of back into the well to be used in the remaining Shikigami. So he brings out this divine dog that's like a combination of the two. And I think it looks pretty good. It almost has, like, the claws on its paws almost look more like human hands or werewolf hands rather than wolf paws.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
And I guess it has double the power, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Because it manages to take a chunk out of the tree curse's arm. Mm-hmm. But during all this battle, we see these buds, like, sprout out of Fushigoro's abdomen, and they're like cursed buds, and they feed on cursed energy, so he like has to not use any more power. Do you think they're ever going to get those out of there, or is that going to be there for the rest of this story?
They'll probably get him out, but I'm surprised that Fushiguro was like fully prepared to just rip his stomach open and take them out. Like, I was like, whoa, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it is an unexpected twist there, and then also Maki kind of runs out of, I guess you could say, her energy there. And she says, it's time for us to tag out, like in a tag team wrestling match. And she says that just in time for the two tough guys to show up, right? Yuji and Toto. Now, something I noticed here, and also somebody in the comments had pointed this out to me, but when Panda comes to sort of help take away Fushiguro and Maki, you can see some stuffing coming out of his ear from his battle with Mekamaru. So I think he really is just like a stuffed animal.
I thought it was a real panda.
I think it's a stuffed animal, but he's got such real animation from being a triple threat cursed corpse that he looks like a real panda. They even put diapers on him just for effect when he was young.
Oh my god.
But this is interesting here because when Yuji and Aoi are facing off with the tree curse, Aoi tells Yuji he's not going to help until he executes a black flash. And then we also learn a little bit about what a black flash is. I guess it's one of the most powerful things a Jujutsu sorcerer can do with curse technique, because he says no one can do it reliably, and some people can't do it at all.
Mm-hmm. It looks interesting. Like, I wonder how this is going to affect Yuji when he's fighting other people in the future.
Hopefully he learns how to do it again, because it seems like it'd come in handy.
Yeah.
Do you remember how they explain the mechanics of the Black Flash?
It's like the cursed energy moves so fast that it turns black or something like that.
And it alters the size of things. Like it alters almost like the space-time continuum or something. It's like a black hole, a singularity event. But he also says you release the cursed energy within 1/1,000,000th of a second, and it gives it 2.5 times the power. There's a lot of complicated math sometimes.
I just kind of sat there like, huh?
And the first time Yuji tries to do it, he fails. Mm-hmm. And then he goes over to Aoi, and Aoi just smacks him in the face. And then talks to him about using anger as motivation and smacks him in the face a second time. And I love it because the tree curse is confused by this.
The tree's like, are they fighting
Are they
each other?
fighting with each other? Yeah, the tree curse is so confused. And then Yuji squares off with the tree curse again. And he's concentrating so much he drools.
Ew.
Do you drool when you're concentrating? Like when you're taking a test, do you start drooling?
No. I clench my teeth. I need to fix that.
I think our dog must concentrate a lot because I see him drool sometimes.
I don't think he's ever concentrated in his life.
But we see that Yuji successfully unleashes the Black Flash. Mm-hmm. And it really catches the tree curse off guard because the tree curse has never experienced this before from what I take. And also, having successfully pulled off this maneuver, Aoi says, okay, now it's time for me to join you. And we get the two tough guys fighting the curse at once. We get some pretty awesome action here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's nice seeing how quickly they can work so well together. And you see that Yuji is liking this new best friend thing as much as Aoi is, which I think is pretty cool. But Yuji's crazy like everyone else. And then the tree curse pulls this, bandage thing off of its left arm and reveals the left arm. And I don't know, to me, it just sort of looks like it's a different color, and it's got a little flower bud up at the shoulder.
Yeah, it's like a weird tree branch.
But I guess it must have some different kind of power that makes it worth keeping covered up most. I honestly thought that bandage was still carrying Jogo's head around for a minute. I forgot that Jogo had started to grow a body back. Remember when he had Jogo's head for a little bit? Pretty good to see just how quickly they're in sync with one another.
Yeah, it's really cool. Their personalities really mesh.
Do you think this is going to be a long-lived team-up and partnership for the show, or do you think it's over at the end of this sister event?
Hopefully it stays, as a long-lived thing.
I think it would be great to see them working together to take down whoever they have to take down as the big bad this season. I'm imagining it's these curses we've seen.
If the writers of the show, though, are really cruel, they might kill off Toto.
No, don't! No.
It seems like every time that Yuji's gotten close to someone, they've, gotten hurt,
Oh, you just brought me down. I was enjoying talking about these two episodes, and now you got me all bummed out. Well, at the end of the episode, now that Yuji has done his Black Flash, and Aoi and Yuji have decided to work together, Aoi basically says, okay, step aside for a minute, Itadori. I'm going to unveil my technique. And then the show ends. They just leave us hanging there.
I know. I was so mad. I was so mad.
Really wanted to see what was going to happen there, but I guess that's what we have to look forward to at the next episode. Now, I've got a question for you. All the curses are gone. It looks to me like this event is over. How in the world are they going to pick a winner from this event? This has been pure chaos.
Maybe whoever... Okay, so if Aoi and Toto are trying to kill this curse, right? Whichever one delivers the final blow wins.
Do you think maybe they would just call it a tie and move on?
I don't know, maybe. Or they might disqualify the sister school because they tried to kill Yuji the entire time.
They got to prove it, though. Maybe they'll just reschedule it for the next weekend. Okay, we'll have to have a do-over. As bad as this is, I think I would be too traumatized to ever be in another sister school event if I was any one of these students. It hasn't gone well for a single one of them.
Oh god, if they try and do a redo, what if this happens all over again?
Oh my goodness.
No.
Well, the next episode's supposed to be a big one. I've heard a lot of big talk for episode 20, so I'm looking forward to it. Are you?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I can't wait to see what Toto's big thing is.
Me too. I want to see what his technique is, and I'm sure it's going to be cool. And maybe the next episode we'll finally get to see the old guy playing his guitar.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
All right, well, we'll be back with a report from 2021 and 22, I think, on our next episode. So talk to you guys later.
Bye.